All right, so this is a hot take, but I think that Brie Larson is toxic. Okay, so I guess I have to explain. That would be the most fair thing here. So there's a new The Marvels trailer, and the fan base is pretty toxic. They're pretty bad. They're pretty awful. Not, I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's actually not fair. That's part of what this is about. Is the fan base isn't toxic. There's a part of the fan base that is toxic, and there's some backlash with what's going on. Like Brie Larson's like responded to it. I guess she's aware of this stuff, and she says, if you don't like women, and leave. And that's the same attitude that the toxic fans have. So they want you to leave. So if the fans are toxic, then that response is also toxic. You're fighting fire with fire at that point. It's like if you don't like it, leave. Like that's not a great attitude. Like what does that mean? Like what does it mean to tell someone to leave even? Like that's like a safe thing to say, you know? I think they should just be muted or blocked or something. Like I don't understand why there isn't like a social media manager that doesn't just do that, but it's like they want it. It's like they want the controversy. They want that bringing it up. Cuz you could hire multiple people to delete and block and ban people. You don't have to ask them to leave. No one ever has to read any of those comments. So I don't think Brie Larson's aware of any of that. I don't think she thinks about that side of this. I think it's again, it's part of this nature of with and against, and they want people to come out and support the Marvels. And as long as there's people against it, that helps. Like it feels like you're supporting something. I guess. I do wonder how many trolls there are. Like how it couldn't be that hard. Like if there's like 1,000, 10,000, like how loud are a few people being? Because I just don't feel like there's like one person who's just sitting on all these like YouTube and Instagram things. Like I can't handle this. Like we're just gonna have to let them post everything they're posting. I can't be deleting, comments all day. Like I bet you could hire somebody to delete comments. I bet you could do all kinds of things to be on top of it, but like people engage with them though. That's also part of it. Is people reply to the comments, which I would tell people right now, don't do that. Like don't try to attack or talk to these people. One, part of them they want it, and two, if you're not good at it, you're in over. Like I do that because I know what I'm doing. Like I will delete comments when I'm like I don't want to engage with that type of response, but I'm like I think I can be funny with something with this here. So you know what you're getting into, like you personally, but I think people should just ignore them. I don't understand why it's like that's the attitude to leave. It's like no, just get rid of them. It's your party. Don't stand there and be like you need to leave. Like they're gonna suddenly be like, you know what, you're right. They're not self-aware enough to go, I'm I'm yucking your yum. I'm gonna step away. You're right. I apologize. Have your party without me. Kick them out. Delete them, ban them, don't address them. But that's not the day and age we live in, is it? We don't want to do that. Just quietly click, whatever. Doesn't bother me. No, we want to be bothered by it, right? So I don't like it. I don't like sort of the design and the controversy and the nature of this. Like it's frustrating. Um, and I know it's not coming out of nowhere. I know it's not designed. Like it's not like this is fake. Like it was very real. that people are like, why, like, no, it's a girl movie. They're making a girl movie. Like, I don't get it. I don't. Why not? Why can't there be a super girls movie? Why can't there be three women that have powers and team up? Difference does it make? There's ones with boys in it. There's tons of ones with boys in it. I mean, I guess I don't know what I grew up with. There was often or girl or two. I grew up with like Power Rangers. And there's like two girls on the team. Gargoyles, like they had help from a girl. There was an evil girl and a good girl. Beast Wars again, like a good girl and a bad girl. I just like I don't know if I grew up with something that had like all male teams. Like X-Men had Rogue and Storm and Jubilee and Jean Grey. Half the team was like girls on that. Um, I don't understand where it comes from. Like I watched Sailor Moon. It's all girls. Sailor Moon was just as cool to me as like Pokemon. It's actually like better in some ways than Pokemon. Like the anime. Like the anime for Pokemon was for younger kids, so also girls in that. So I just don't get where like the mentality is coming from of people not wanting it, and telling them to leave isn't helping them get through that mentality. Not that we're gonna succeed though, like this, like someone's gonna watch this video and be like, you know what, you're right, it isn't for me, and I should just leave it. Like, although if one person changes their mind after watching this and goes, it's someone else's birthday, I don't need to be there, you're right. Thank you. That's all this is. This is everybody gets a birthday party. You're invited, but you don't have to come if you don't want to. But if you want to come and try to enjoy it. I don't know, I guess maybe we've instilled this in people, like, just, well, if it's all boys, it's for boys. If it's all girls, it's for girls. And I just never got that, never felt that with, like, media, It's easy for me, like, I've never really felt, I don't know, I grew up in chat rooms. You could be whatever you wanted, and chat rooms for anybody. It's just trying to define it more, and that's also frustrating. Like, people were like, this is what boys do, this is what girls do. No? They can do anything. Either one can do anything. That's toxicity right there, trying to define it. Like, don't. Like, I've been trying to make fun of, like, alpha male. Like, this is what alpha would do. I'm like, really? Is it? Like, your masculinity doesn't need to be defined precisely. Like, you can. So something I've never really talked about, and I guess I'm going to talk about now, is the Ghostbusters movie from 2016. That was all women. The 4 Ghostbusters were 4 women, and was that a good idea? Marketing wise, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to know if people really wanted another Ghostbusters movie, period. Or if they really wanted the original cast, and then people just didn't go because it wasn't the original cast, so it had nothing to do with the gender, right? Could have been an all-male cast, but if it's Ben Stiller and Seth Rogen or somebody, and it's just like, well, that's not my, Ghostbusters. New things that are like revamps of the old things don't always start out as a hit. Like Star Trek: The Next Generation, it's like, that's not Kirk, that's not Spock. That didn't. Picard, when they did Picard and stuff, like, that didn't start as a hit, so that was rejected by people right away. So it's like, it's easy to kind of just see what's happened in other places, but we do know there was a fat amount of controversy because people are stupid, I guess. I don't know what else to say. I shouldn't say that, but like, what else is there to say? Like, you shouldn't care, like, you have 7 years of cartoons, the 2 movies, like, it was supposed to be a reboot. It's trying not to step on what was made, and just, and it got absurd. I remember like talking about it, like you couldn't talk about it, like it was just an issue. I'm like, this is insane. Like, can we just talk about whether a movie's good or bad? Like, I didn't think the movie was bad, but I didn't think it was great. It was fine. There was interesting stuff in it, and I just wish people could have been real like that. Like, I don't like the pass or fail system. Like, I'm non-binary. Like, come on. But no, but really, like, if people liked it, cool. Like, I didn't think it was like a must see. I think it was missable, but I didn't think it was like, oh, turn it off. It's, it was fine. Um, because I grew up with the first two, and everyone always says like, "Oh, Ghostbusters 2 sucks." And it's like it was like the same movies for part one, and I thought it was funnier, but the first one is like spookier, and there's definitely things about the 2016 Ghostbusters. It's like could have refined it, could have edited it differently, could have worked on some of those characters, but why can't we talk about it in those ways? It should have just been another movie. And that's what I feel like. It's like, is this going to happen again? Is this what happened with Brie Larson and Captain Marvel and the Marvels? Can we just talk about the movie like it's a movie? Because if it's bad, we should dump on it. And if it's good, though, we should praise it. And it shouldn't have anything to do with who is starring in it or any other motives. Because if it's something that's like what I'm saying, it's like it's not your birthday party, you're not invited, or you're invited, but if it's really where we want to say like, well, it's for women. Okay, well, they deserve good movies too. So, but they also deserve the chance at bad movies because there's been plenty of male starring movies that suck. So, eventually, it just becomes fair. But they need their chance. Everyone deserves their chance. So, yeah, I know that's like hot. That's like some hot take stuff, and I'm hoping people get where I'm coming from with all that, I think just people like people just like they own things that they don't actually own. Like they adopt it into their personality. Like they're a Ghostbuster fan. And then when something comes along that they don't like about it, like, well, I don't know if I want to identify with that anymore. It's like the Budweiser. Oh my god. Like people are like, I don't know if I wanna be a Budweiser fan anymore because I did something different for someone, for other people. I mean, it's another thing where it's like, oh, people are like, oh, Kid Rock, look what he's doing, like getting a lot of attention. Like I haven't heard anything about Kid Rock in a while. Like Budweiser's everywhere. They don't really need the advertising, but it's definitely like, I think it's helping and hurting. So I think it's just pathetic though that people need their thing to always be their thing because it's who they are. I'm like, it's not who you are. These are brands. These are things you pick up. These are the things you like. And the moment you liked it, it didn't go away. It's not undone. Like if you like Spider-Man, you can still like Spider-Man from that era. I guess it's like, and I grew up with comics where I don't like some of the 90s Spider-Man. I grew up with the older Spider-Man because I didn't have access to the new comics. I had access to the old comics. And when I got around to reading the comics that were coming out when I was alive, like when I was 10 years old, what was Spider-Man doing in like 1999 or whatever? It's like, oh, this is really stupid. But I can tell people that are comic fans I like the other eras, and that's fine. Which is another thing that's funny, people loyalty, like speaking of Spider-Man, people are like, give the rights back. I'm like, why? Why would they? No one who's alive, no one who's alive today made Spider-Man. Steve Ditko and Stan Lee invented Spider-Man. They're both dead. They're not making Spider-Man movies. Like, give the rights, but Disney doesn't own it. Sony doesn't own it. You don't own it. Like, no one really owns it. People that owned it by like writing it from like the whole copyright. Like, you sound like a rule lawyer in D&D, and it's really frustrating. Like, that's not the way it should be. The Stan Lee and Steve Ditko should own Spider-Man. And I don't know if they made the money, but like, yeah, if you want to sell it to someone to make movies, then yeah, I don't know if Steve Ditko ever saw a dime of that. I'm sure Stan Lee made plenty of money. You got to be in the movies, So I just none of the stuff like belongs to you. You know, it's a lot. Um, this type of thinking, it's like it transcends all of this stuff, like the identity and these issues. It's a lot deeper than just movies, but people do try to use movies to explore their identity, and it helps them. Because I know it's not black or white. And the world is not black or white. It's not good or evil. There's so much more to it. And I wish people knew all the shades of gray. Which I also don't like the title of 50 Shades of Grey, because like I'm really into that, just the term Shades of Grey. And people are like, oh, 50 Shades of Grey? I'm like, no, there's thousands of shades of gray. Don't even go there. Like a really good movie that I don't love, but I know a lot of people love, is Goodfellas, and it's about someone who is like in the mob, in the mafia kind of, and he's mostly a good person, but he also lets all these terrible, horrible things happen to other people because he's part of that group. And it's like a good person does bad things or a bad person does good things. And superhero movies don't explore that. So the type of art that's like challenging and inspiring people really is like superhero stuff. I'm like, can you read a book? Can you watch a different movie? Like I see people say all the time, like, yeah, the story's not that good. And in Ant-Man and Mario and Star Wars, I'm like, what are you watching it for the story? Like, do you want more out of stories and plot and depth? And there's things that do that. Those aren't those things. Those are spectacles. But it's just sort of not surprising that fans of superhero movies just have to see the world as black and white, that they can't see the nuance in a character like the one in Goodfellas, and all those characters, like who's evil, who's good, who's a victim, who's a, just all of these things. And it's an interesting character study, and that's something Martin Scorsese's pretty good at, if you can look at the layers. And some people don't. Some people just look at these things surface level. So, which you can do, but I'm like, there's more. Like Taxi Driver. Like, if I talk about it, I'm going to give out spoilers. Watch Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro. It's interesting. So, there's no way to unalign people from their brains. Like the new Marvel's trailer looks fine, but I'm also not swayed by those things. Like I can appreciate a trailer for being a trailer. The Wonder Woman 1984 trailer is still one of the best trailers I've ever seen. Like really, like watch that trailer. It's great. It's basically like a really like little mini music video, like movie, style trailer. But that's amazing editing, music syncing, like so much about it. And the movie's terrible. And yeah, like that Wonder Woman 1984 is just so bad. But Thor 4 sucks, so it's like it's fair. Like women deserve to have bad soup just like men. So I don't think the Thor 4 trailer was any good either. Like it looks like schlocky and So it's a lot of our art though. A lot of our art just is binary thinking. It just is good versus evil. You don't want someone who might have been good to die in the end. You don't want someone who might have been evil to win, Because the real world, it's complicated. And I don't want people to leave. Like I don't like that. I don't like that mentality of saying, just go away. Like no, just look, you're invited to the party, okay? Just don't be a problem. Check yourself, okay? You don't have to go anywhere, but maybe step outside. Maybe take a breather. Like go a little silent and go like, is this worth it? Do I need to do this? And if you don't want to, then don't come back to the party. Like just walk away. Go to a different party. Go hang somewhere else. But if you're like, you know what? I want to hang. It's a really old saying. If you can't beat them, join them. can't sum it up more simple than that. So I hope that people don't keep fighting toxic with toxic. Don't fight fire with fire. So yeah, Brie Larson saying stuff. It's whatever. I miss when we could ignore celebrities. That's another thing. Like Gina Carano was saying stuff about like comparing things to the Holocaust, and I miss when we could just go, yeah, that celebrity's saying a lot of weird stuff. Let's just ignore them. Like, what's his name? Charlie Sheen used to say all this stuff. He didn't get fired for that. He got fired for not showing up to his set to film. That's why he got fired. He didn't get fired for talking about tiger blood. He said a bunch of crazy stuff. You just go, okay, anyway. So Brie Larson's saying stuff. She's trying to address the stuff, and let's just, if we can ignore all the fans, we can ignore the sort of just trying to get everyone to shut up. Like, don't shut up necessarily, but like maybe just, you can take a pause, take a minute in a conversation and go, okay, hold on, I just said all this stuff. Maybe I should listen to why they're so excited about a movie. Because all you're doing is just blasting it, then who really cares? Who cares what you have to say? Why should we care? If you're not going to listen to what other people are saying about it, so then you're not trying to have a conversation. You're just trying to yell and shout. And that's annoying. Which, going back to the party analogy, they should just kick you out of the party. If only there was a way to delete YouTube comments. Oh well. Maybe they'll invent that soon.